We live yet?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I've already done up here. I've coated the top and the bottom here with just a little bit of blue. I did that to just save us a little bit of time because, grinding in the sky in the water can take some time. First off, I just want to thank you guys so much for showing up for this live stream. It should be a lot of fun. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them in the comment area, and I can answer them later on. I'll actually have the whole family here, and they'll feed me questions as we go along. Well, maybe it'll kind of work its way out. Hopefully we don't have too many computer glitches that you guys get to see what we deal with all the time, every week. This is what we deal with. But that's okay. It's a lot of fun to bring these videos to you guys. So hopefully the sound's okay. I know we tested it. It was all right, but we'll see how it goes. We'll do what we can. I'm going to blend this all together now so that we get a beautiful soft mountain effect. There we go.
Okay. 3. I'm going to go back to painting because I think we got it fixed. Are we good? I'm getting thumbs up back there. That's a good sign. All right. So that's a relief. We didn't want to do the whole video with a bad sounding mic. So what ended up happening was our software that's sending the live stream to YouTube, actually I had the wrong mic selected. So that'll do it every time. Oh, well, the wonders of trying to do stuff live. There, it's a lot of fun. Thank you guys for your patience. I'm glad that you guys are here and having a lot of fun with me. So now we can kind of get back to some normal painting. And I should sound much more normal. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm just scrubbing in these little trees. There we go, cool. And the light's coming in like that. Actually, you know what would be really cool that I didn't do is, what if we took our paper towel and this isn't even painting that I practiced. I just want to like rub on this side of the mountain. And I don't know if this is going to do anything or not. Maybe you can't even see it, but I'm just thinking, what if we kind of break that mountain up a little just with some, removing of the paint. It might give it a little different texture. It might be kind of cool, and I'll soften that with the brush. Good. I don't know. I think that just breaks it up a little. It's just looking a little on the flat side to me. Okay, tell you what, let's get some of that heavy paint off right there. I'm not going to have time to stop and clean my hands as much. I actually have a little paper towel here, but watch, this is going to be kind of messy. I'm going to have paint all over the place by the time we're done with this thing. Okay. So now, let's start thinking about a large tree up here. I can actually start thinking about the painting instead of the mic. So let's grab a little green, brown, black, blue, and I don't know, yellow. That'd be all right. And let's just right up here toss in a bit of a tree. Well, that seems to come out a little on the light side. Let's darken that. Cool. And I'm just going to brush this around. And it's great if you have a variation in color. That's fun. You guys want variations in color in your painting. All right, cool. Not too much paint because we're going to have to highlight this, and it would be kind of difficult to highlight if we had a lot of paint. So you want to make sure you don't have that much. All right, there we go. So in case you, oh yeah.
We have a question.
Oh great, we have a question.
Do you have any, or do you use any medium with the tube paints?
Do I use any medium with what?
The tube paints.
Yeah, okay, great question. So actually, the question was, do I use any medium with my paints? Well, the medium that I use actually comes in a tube. It's the clear gel, and it's not like your traditional linseed oil-based mediums. It's actually pretty thick. It feels kind of like a paint, just a little thinner. So I actually use that. It's the Gamblin Clear Gel. It comes in a little tube. We sell that on the website. And it's good stuff because I feel like it just, and I used it on the sky and water today. I feel like it's just sticky. Like, hey, look, I can't mess this up. Really, it's cool stuff. You can blend, and you're really a lot safer than you ordinarily would be. Now I have my fingerprints going in there, but you see that it didn't mess anything up. So it just feels sticky, and it's a big help when you're trying to do stuff. All right, okay, yeah.
Just the size of the canvas. What is that?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Size of the canvas. We're using 18 by 24 size, and that's what I normally use, but you don't have to. You use whatever you want to. I just like ones that's a little bit longer versus like a square, but that's just me. You guys can choose whatever you're comfortable with. All right, here we go. The square one, or the rectangular ones, I feel like they just work pretty well for landscapes. And since that's mostly what I do, that's what works for me. All right, I do have a little more paint out on my palette than normal. That's because, number one, the faster you paint, the more paint you have to use, because I don't want to waste time just spending time smushing little amounts of paint into the canvas. And number two, I'm going to try to avoid stopping to squirt out paint because that wastes time. Okay. I like this. You see how that shadow is drifting around? That's really cool.
Kevin, here's a question.
All right, go ahead.
How do you clean your brushes and palette?
Okay, so we have a question about how to clean the brushes and palette. I'll turn around and talk to you. The way that I like to clean my brushes is using baby oil. You can use paint thinner. I just personally like baby oil. It's a little bit harder to clean up, and you waste a lot of paper towels with it because you have to absorb the oil because it won't just evaporate off. It's a little safer though, and it still works pretty well. The palette, I just simply wipe down with a baby wipe, or even just a little bit of baby oil on a paper towel is okay. And as you can see, I'm not the palette cleaning expert around here, but it seems to do the job okay. There. I'm going to toss a little green in here. I'm using these, look how I'm layering these darks and lights. I'm creating the feel of a fluffy grass without actually doing it. I'm just kind of mushing color in, and it's working. And that's pretty cool because it's a little safer sometimes, not always, a little safer to build your colors like this versus highlighting, tapping on highlight to a whole grassy field. So it's just something different. I kind of want to show you guys different things because that's fun. The more variety we can pack in here, the better, right? There we go. Let's see. I'm just looking around at my composition, check my painting I have sitting over there. I like it. It's not bad, actually. Let me throw something over here. And this is really the part that's slow. This is the part that takes a long time. Kind of just getting things underpainted and figured out. And I like to rush through this a little bit, especially something like this, because the details are what is going to make this painting pop. The underpainting is not very complicated. It's really not. A lot of people, they get a little bit too worried about the underpainting. I don't want you guys to have to worry. Have fun instead and just enjoy it. Your underpainting's covered up. Oh, I got another question. All right.
Can you call out the colors as you paint?
Oh, sure. I'll call out my colors. Yeah, so I haven't, for a long time, haven't really called out my actual colors because you can use many colors. People, can use whatever. But I do have a specific palette that I like, and I have it for sale on the website. And it may change in 5-10 years, who knows. But for now, this is really what I like to use, and I find it to work really well. So sure, I will tell you the colors as I go. Let's tell you what, actually, let's do some.
Here's a question.
Oh, okay.
Any recommended resources for composition tips?
Oh, that's a good question. Recommended resources for composition tips. And this one's actually really interesting because composition is tough, and I'm sure you guys know that. But one of the best things that you can do is look around at nature and either take your own photos, or you can use a combination of sketches and drawings that you make and combine them into one new painting. So, I like the tree from this photo I took last year, and I like the flower from the photo I took 2 years ago. And in your mind or just on paper, sketch them out together. And that's what I did to create this painting. And you'll be able to create many different landscapes that way. Super fun. Okay, here's my umber and my sap green.
Here's a question.
Okay, we got another question. All right.
Control the amount of paint that goes onto the canvas.
Oh man, how do I control the amount of paint that goes onto the canvas? Well, that's kind of an interesting question because it's not something I think about all the time. But controlling, how I control it, I just don't put much in the brush. Keep the brush starved for paint for the most part and you'll be fine. If you start doing this, you're gonna have trouble all day long. Don't do that. Instead, use only tiny, tiny bits of paint in your brush. If you feel like you're tearing up your brush, you're doing it right. These brushes are tools meant to be used, and if you're doing these delicate little strokes like this, that's not gonna do it. You guys got to get in here, press really hard. If you can see the weave of the canvas through your painting, you've done it right, and that's good. And I never thin my paint after the initial clear gel on the sky and water areas, except for obviously the liner brush, but that doesn't really count, does it? Okay. Let me see, that looks pretty decent. I'm gonna step back 6 feet away, well, 2 feet away. And look, you guys should stand back 6 feet away, but get an overall feel of the composition. Get a feel.
Here's
Yeah.
a similar question.
Okay.
What could cause the paint not to stick on the canvas, and how do you resolve that?
Okay, that is a intense question. There's a lot of possibilities. The question is, what could cause the paint not to stick? Well, there's several reasons. Number one, and I've just recently been playing with this, is different qualities of gesso cause a bigger problem than I even realized. You got to have a gesso that feels rough and scratchy. So that's number one. Put your finger on the canvas. If it feels rough and scratchy, you're probably good. If it feels soft and waxy, think about getting a different gesso. And it's not the tooth of the canvas, it's actually the gesso that's causing the problem there generally. Another reason, maybe you got some leftover baby oil or some sort of a traditional linseed type medium in your brush. That'll do it. That'll do it. And then you simply have too much paint. And if you have too much paint, that's the easy one to fix. Get a paper towel and wipe it off. And in a lot of my instructional DVDs, I actually show how to do a lot of paint control, because that's like one of the most important things, is controlling how much paint you put down. So a lot of my DVDs show how to wipe the canvas down, how to control paint, because that's where you get into trouble. Okay, that's cool. That's looking good. And speaking of controlling paint, I see a potential problem right here. So I'm going to address it just by wiping down the canvas. And look, I added a little bonus texture just to go along with it. That's cool. Okay, back to my brush here. And this is going to be pretty much the final little bit to the grass, because I don't want to spend all day painting grass. I know you guys don't want to see it over and over again. So let me just get this grass in there. Get the feeling of beautiful light grassy areas, and then we will scoot on to something else. There we go. Okay, that's feeling right. Isn't that good? And another question? Okay.
How long do you let your painting dry before you frame it?
Okay.
Is there a good way to get oil paintings to dry quicker?
All right, I'll talk to you for this one. The question was, how long do I wait to frame my paintings? How long do I let them dry? And is there a secret to get them to dry faster? Well, number one, I usually wait about a week because I don't want to damage my paintings. I've sometimes just thrown them in a frame, like in our interactive videos, I just throw it in the frame that day because I have to do it. I actually never damaged a painting doing it that way. It's just kind of risky. But you know what? You just want to make sure it's really, really well and dry, because the last thing you want to do is ruin your brand new nice painting. As far as a nice tip to get them to dry, you got to just live in a desert. Really, otherwise, if you live in a humid area, it's going to take several weeks, and I don't know a good way around it. You don't want to go into too many of those quick dry mediums, because they can, they change the way the paint goes on. You don't want to be adding medium to the entire painting. That would be kind of problematic. So I just let it dry a couple weeks at least. And if you live somewhere humid, give it an extra week. Okay, so that feels good. That looks about right.
Kevin,
Yeah.
question on what do you mean by gesso?
Oh, okay. What do I mean by gesso? Well, gesso is what the canvases are primed with. So if I go to the art store and I buy a canvas, it comes with a gesso. I mean, if you buy any kind of canvas stretched, it comes with a gesso. And it's an acrylic-based primer that sort of seals up the canvas and makes it ready to accept our oil paint. Because the raw canvas, if you flip a canvas around on the other side, you'll see what a raw canvas looks like. And obviously that doesn't accept paint too well. So that's simply what the gesso is. It's not a paint to use. It's just something to throw down in the beginning, let it fully dry. And you guys probably won't have to deal with it if you buy quality canvas. All right.
Kevin,
Yeah.
how are your brushes clipped to the easel?
Oh, nice. How are my brushes clipped to the easel? These are just little magnets. I think they're a 1/2-inch magnet. And of course the brushes are metal, so they just snap right on. It's actually really cool because it saves my table from getting too dirty. There. Okay, so what I'm doing here, back to the art for just a second. What I'm doing, I'm just throwing in a little bit of this reflection, just using the same old colors that I have already mixed up here. There. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying this and asking all these questions, because that's fun for me to interact with you guys. It's really cool. Okay, I'm just going to quickly get in here because I know all this is covered. Maybe just go soft. Maybe we see a little of the sky. I don't know. Yeah.
Have you ever used a spray varnish?
Oh, good question. Have I ever used a spray varnish? I don't think I have. Have I? Maybe I have. I don't remember. I should remember, but I don't think I have. I think I've maybe played with them but never really used them because I have, however, used the brush-on varnish quite a bit. I do like the brush-on varnish. The spray varnishes I hear are great. I hear they're really nice and they give a nice even coat. I do like the brush varnishes because I have a little more control, and I don't know, it's always tended to work pretty well for me. All right, dragging this in right here. Okay, I gotta focus on some of the details. There's a few things that I know we want in here. Number one, we want to highlight the path, add a fence, and add a couple of birch trees, because that's the way I practice this painting. I am going to take a little bit of our yellow and I'm sorry, I said yellow. There's a little yellow in there, but it's not yellow. Here's yellow ochre, right into our titanium white. And a little bit of our umber, and just like that, touch of red. Just like that, we have a beautiful little color. And this is my detail round, and I'm going to just slice this color right down onto this path. Some of it will mix, and that's wonderful. The light's coming across like this. This area is shading the rest of this path. I'm going pretty quick here, I know, and I'm not really giving you a ton of teaching so much as it is you guys get to see how the painting is created and developed.
Here's a question.
Okay.
In many of your videos,
Uh-huh.
you wipe down your painting to remove excess paint for later highlighting.
Right.
However, if I do so, it grays out so quickly. Do you have any tips?
Okay, so in some of my videos, I wipe down to remove the extra paint, but then I guess the problem that you're having is that it gets, you know, kind of gray and muddy. Well, here's what you can do. If you're having trouble with it becoming gray and muddy when you know, if I were to take a paper towel right now, wipe this down, this part that I just painted, it would become gray and muddy as well. Because I've got a couple layers on there. Now, if I had just the underpainting, no problem. When you have a couple colors, of course, you're going to smush the colors together. What you do, take a paper towel and absorb like this. This is not as good, but this is what I do when I want to go over something. You just take out a little bit of the loose oil that's sitting on top. Look, that didn't make it muddy. It just took away some of the loose oil. See? That's kind of your best bet. And it doesn't really get a lot better than that. And look, I can come back and add more highlight. It doesn't get a lot better than that. That's about as good as you can get without becoming muddy. Okay, let's see here. I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. I'm going to leave that and let it sit for a minute because I want to do some other things as well. Let's think about our fan brush. Let's grab our fan brush and grab some of our yellows. And here we go. I want to just make this grass a little bit more fluffy. Make it a little more fluffy. You can do that just with a couple of strokes. I'm going to slim this path down. It feels a little heavy to me. This path is not the feature. I don't want people to stand here and say, nice path. No, I want you to see the birch trees. Yeah.
Here's a question.
Okay, what?
Does your dad paint too?
Oh, okay. Okay, the question is, does my dad paint too? He's over here. He's giving me this. No, he doesn't really paint. He did, he's done one or two for fun, but that was before I could paint either. So we were just kind of fumbling around together. It's kind of, but no, he doesn't really paint. But he does help a lot, so we're thankful for that. All right, I'm gonna just throw in a little highlight here. Maybe, okay, watch this. Yeah, let's let this thing sneak right around.
Kevin, what brand of canvas do you use?
Okay, this is a good question. The question is, what brand of canvas do I use? Well, right now I'm really enjoying these Sunbelt canvases. They're Sunbelt Canvas Company. Really a decent quality canvas. I actually really like it, and it's working for me. Good quality, good gesso on them, which is important.
Kevin, how many times a day do you paint for leisure?
Okay, the question is, how many times a day do I paint for leisure? The answer is none. I really don't at all paint for leisure. In fact, when I'm painting, it's with you guys on camera almost all the time. In fact, we're going to be starting probably a big one pretty soon together because I didn't want to leave you guys out. So, yeah, when I'm painting, you guys are watching. So I paint a few times a week for you guys, and that's about it. All right, so now I'm going to load up my brush here with a really vibrant yellow. And I'm going to just think about sneaking a little, oh yeah, that's cool. I like that look right there.
Kevin,
Yeah.
which is your favorite brush for painting trees?
Okay, this is a good question. What's my favorite brush for painting trees? Well, now, obviously, different brushes do different trees. If I had to get stuck with just one brush, it'd be this one right here, the filbert brush. This one works. This one will do anything for you. Won't give you the most detailed tree on the planet, but it will do anything you want it to do pretty well. So if I had to get stuck with just one brush, that's my brush.
Kevin,
Yeah.
any tips on how to get started selling pieces?
Oh, yeah.
Pricing is so hard.
Yeah. Okay, this is a wonderful question. Any tips on how to, get started selling your paintings? Because pricing is hard. Yeah, pricing is really hard. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to do a few paintings, get comfortable, and when you're ready to sell, number one, you got to have a place to sell. Try local art fairs and things like that. The internet's harder. Local art fairs, I think you have a better chance. The pricing, if you don't have much time invested, and you want to just throw a number out there, why not $75, $65? You can go up to 90. Those are good places to start. That's kind of, I think, where I started when I started trying to sell the littler paintings. Obviously, if you're going anything big, charge more because your stuff costs more, and you want to make sure you're making money. Don't sell your paintings for a loss just to sell them. Don't downplay your work. It's good, and you gotta, at least ask a fair price for it. So probably more importantly is where you sell it. Look for those local craft fairs, and also, if you can get a place in a restaurant. I know a lot of artists that hang paintings in restaurants with a little price tag, and the restaurant gets a commission. That's not a bad place to start. Okay, so I've explained absolutely nothing about the art up here. I'm just dropping in what feels like little stones and just beautiful highlights. I'm going to do that to this side briefly, just a bit. Oh, actually a little bit of, yeah.
How long have you been painting?
Okay, another question. How long have I been painting? 5 years, I think.
You were 15.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was 15 when I started. I'm 21 right now. So I've been painting for quite a little while. I guess I'm sure not as long as a lot of you guys, but I just enjoyed it and practiced at it a lot, so. And it just developed, and I've really enjoyed it. There. Okay.
So Kevin, here's a question.
All right, go ahead.
How do you fix mistakes?
Oh yeah, okay, good question. How do we fix mistakes? Well, mistakes are gonna happen. They happen to me all the time, so I know they're gonna happen to you. If something happens, number one, get the paint off of the canvas, because it's never gonna be any better with you frustrated, glopping more paint on. It's just not gonna get any better. Instead, wipe the canvas down, take a breath, and just paint it again. So if I didn't like this tree, this one up here, if I didn't like that tree, take a breath, get as much off with a knife and then a paper towel, repair a little bit of the sky, and paint the tree again. That's about your best way to fix mistakes. Now, if you're talking little mistakes, you can blend it into the background and it just goes away. Nobody knows about it. That's fine. I'm assuming you mean the bigger mistakes where you actually, it's, do I throw the painting away or try to fix the mistake? That's how you do it. Don't let it bother you, because it happens to me all the time. Happened to me on the little practice one I was doing. I didn't even fix it because I know it didn't matter. There, okay, cool. So anyways, while we were talking, I kind of got this sorted out. I like it. It feels bright and it feels vibrant, and I think we have probably painted grass long enough.
Kevin,
Yeah.
was it difficult to create your own brushes?
Oh, interesting. Was it difficult to create my own brushes? It was a little tricky. I remember it actually being a little bit difficult to find brushes that I liked that I could get. So that initially was a little tricky, actually, and it was several years ago, so I didn't know what I was doing as much. So yeah, it was originally sourcing out brushes was a little tricky, but now it's all good. And when I go to design like this one I designed recently, it was not a problem. I looked for a need, I had a need, and I'm like, well, how can I fill that need easily and make it easy for you guys? Because the point is, you want to make it as easy and reliable as possible. I wanted things to work for you the first time. So, when I go to design a new brush, it's not bad. It's usually out of, we actually need a new brush. There.
Kevin, is it important to be a loose painter?
Oh yeah, okay, great question. Is it important to be a loose painter? The quick answer is absolutely very, very important to be a loose painter. Simple reason for that. That one's too big. Simple reason for that is if you're tight, and you know what I mean, I'm sure you guys know. If you're tight, it's gonna just feel flat. You're not going to have any movement in your painting, and it's just your trees are going to be symmetrical. You're not going to be happy. So yes, paint loose. These handles are long. Sneak way back on the handle if you have to. In fact, if you're ever in one of my classes, you know I make you guys come way back on the handle to get you loose, because it makes your art better, makes your experience better. Okay, that's cool.
Kevin, how would
Yeah.
you add it to an old painting without making it obvious?
All right. How would I add to an old painting without making it obvious? Well, you got to be careful about what you're adding. If you want to add something that, like detail, you're good. Just add the detail. Nobody will ever know or care. If you want to add something more drastic, like a pond where there was grass, make sure that the colors line up properly. You do not want colors that are all over the place. So that's maybe the biggest thing. Make sure your colors are right on. Speaking of color, it's taking me forever to get. I was just trying to look around for a nice soft color. I finally got it. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that. Looks good. Let's do right there. Okay. See, look how loose I'm being. And it's fuzzier. The fuzzier you can go, the better in the background, because look how fuzzy that is. It creates a beautiful distance in the painting. Yeah.
How are you enjoying married life?
Oh, okay. How am I enjoying married life? It's been really fun, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit. In fact, Sophie's right here, and she's not waving, she's hiding, but it's okay. She's having a lot of fun too. It's just, I've enjoyed it, it's great. But yeah, thank you, great question. Let's see, let's do some branches in here. You guys are fun. I really enjoy painting with you guys every week, and I just want to thank you for your support. I know I say it on my videos, but it means a lot. And you guys come and you watch. It's like I put a video up and there's instant views, like you guys are sitting there waiting for it. I really appreciate it. I just want to say thank you. All right, let's get a little bit of highlight work going on here before we get too crazy. Yeah.
When is the best time to do highlights? When it's totally dry or while you're painting?
Okay, interesting question. When is it the right time to do highlights? When the painting is totally dry or, well, it's wet, I'm guessing. Well, the answer would be, well, for me, well, it's wet, because I don't like painting dry. I do it for those, those Painting With You episodes, which are a lot of fun for me, by the way. I do it for those. Sometimes I end up highlighting dry, but I don't like it because, number one, it's not forgiving. Number two, it's hard to get soft edges, Look at how my trees are getting these soft edges back here. I can just melt these things away. You cannot melt things on a dry canvas. So if at all possible, please try to highlight while it's wet. If you're mixing mud and if you're just not happy, you're not cheating to stop and wait. Nobody is looking over your shoulder saying you have to do it one way or the other. And certainly not me. I mean, I want you guys to have success. So if it takes letting it dry, please let it dry. That doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to have success. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I kind of like that. Let's leave that alone for a second. Let's think about over here. Let's think about some larger birch trees. You could do it with 3/4. I'm actually going to grab the filbert. Let's mix up actually here, there you go. Let's mix up a nice color here.
Kevin?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite part of painting?
Good question. What's my favorite part of painting? And that's not something that's actually that difficult. My favorite part of painting is doing the detail work. I love doing the detail work because to me, it's when I get to enjoy what I've done up to that point. Sometimes when especially for like the more complicated paintings, sometimes it's just a lot of work getting those paintings together where they look right and where everything works and the colors are on point. It's tough sometimes. But then when you're done with that and you see your patience and your work rewarded when the details go in, you look back and you're like, whoa, that's coming out better than I was thinking it would. Now that's what's fun. So yeah, if I had a choice, I would just sit here and detail things out. And that goes with like the extra highlight too. I love that, when you put on the extra highlight.
Kevin, do you offer instructional videos focusing on portraits?
Oh, do I offer instructional videos on portrait painting? Not yet, not yet. And I will be honest, I really don't paint people. But if I ever learn to paint people, you guys will know, and I will pass whatever I learn on to you guys. I will make videos if I can. There. What'd you guys think about that rooster, though? That one was interesting for me. Never, ever painted a rooster before in my whole life until that day. That was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. That one turned out even better than I was hoping, so that's cool. All right, I'm looking over here, kind of balancing the painting, thinking about what we need. We need more highlight back here. All right, let me just, okay. Oh, you know what's really would be fun? While you guys are just watching me paint, why don't you type in the chat what state or country you're from. If you're not in the United States, you can just tell us the country. I'm just curious, where are you guys from? I'm from California, as a lot of you guys know, and I'll have Colin tell me if he'll just kind of pick out a few, and that way I kind of get to engage with you guys while I'm still painting. All right, this is cool. Good stuff. Let me lighten this up just a bit. If I have my palette off, it's just because I'm way over here working, kind of standing back, making sure I don't get in your way.
Sweden.
Oh, Sweden, that's cool. All right.
States like
Arizona, yeah. North Carolina, Connecticut.
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, I probably flooded you with too many. They're going too fast. All right, thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it.
Portugal.
Portugal, there you go. Cool.
Ireland.
Oh, Ireland, absolutely. Brazil, I know I have a lot of.
Trinidad.
Okay, Trinidad, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. Netherlands, Germany. Yay, California. All right.
Australia.
Australia, absolutely. Nice. That's fun.
Canada.
Canada, of course. All right. We like to vacation in Canada. You guys have probably heard me talk about it before. We really have a lot of fun there. All right. Putting in a little warm color back there because I think that's cool and it could use it. Okay, so we have a couple things I want to do. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this, but I'd like to just throw in a little detail here on the shore, which we can do.
Kevin,
Yeah.
how do you make sure that your highlight isn't overdone?
Oh, great question. How do we make sure the highlight's not overdone? Well, let me show you here. Let's paint a little highlight. If your highlight looks, oh, I hate to do it, but here we go. If your highlight looks like this, you've overdone it. This is not what we're looking for. Let me show you instead what we're looking for. You guys are getting the bonus instruction today. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for slivers of light played against dark. This is good stuff. This is overdone. This is way too much highlight for the amount of dark that we have there. So, if you find your painting unbalanced, that's how you know you've overdone it. You got to balance your lights and the darks. You want both in your painting, and the darks are a lot more important than the lights because the darks are more easily covered. There, the lights usually just overtake everything. All right, I'm gonna just slice in these little bits of color like this because it makes it look like a little bit of a rocky shore. I don't want to overdo, but I also don't want to be too vague here in this area. I want a little detail. Maybe slice in a couple of what feels like rocks in here, not too bright. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. That's cool. Mm-hmm.
What type of reference do you use, or do you just paint from your imagination?
Oh, yeah.
Any plein air painting?
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So kind of a double question. What kind of a reference do I use, or do I just bring it out of my imagination? And also, do I do any plein air painting? I do a little bit of plein air painting. I did at least once. It's actually online for you guys if you want to go see it. It's the 100,000 subscriber special video. We actually went outside to our local mountains and painted, which was kind of fun. But anyways, what I do for the reference, what I'll do is like I said, I combine a couple of ideas together to make something new. I always have something to look at though, whether it's a little sketch or several photos, whatever. A painting, like today. I always have something to look at, and it absolutely never comes out of my mind. And I say that because I don't want you guys to just make it up out of your mind, because you're not going to have as much success, because it's just too hard. You'll just default back to something like a tree in the middle and a mountain. You know, whatever your default is, it's going to happen. So be careful. Always use a reference if you can. Okay, it's looking not bad, huh? Kind of developing some light, feels good. All right, birch trees. Let's take our white, work that well into the brush, tint it with something. There we go. And I think that our nice, stained background, right? There's not much in here. I think that's going to really help us as we go. There. So I'm just going to stroke this on. Yeah, my paint's going to get a little dirty, but that's not going to be a concern.
Do you ever do a full painting with a knife?
Oh yeah, great question. Have I ever done a full painting with a knife? I have, and they're on YouTube. So what you can do when we're done here, just search out knife painting on the channel, and it should come up. Because I think I labeled them knife painting. There. So yeah, and they're a lot of fun. And I recommend that you do them because they're a good learning experience. Now, the palette knife work in a painting is a little bit more limited in a regular painting because you don't want to glop on the texture except for in the extreme foreground. There. Yeah.
I have trouble with my darks. How do I do the dark shadows?
Okay. The question is, you have trouble with your darks, how do you do the dark shadows? Well, my first question to you would probably be, what kind of medium are you using and is it all over the canvas? My guess is it is, because if you don't use any medium on this canvas and you just put dark black on there, you're going to have dark black. It's not going to have any other choice but to be dark black. So, that being said, I bet you the problem is your medium. You're coating the whole canvas with a white medium, and that's creating mud. So that's the way you want to do it. Make sure your darks are pure. You don't want anything contaminating them.
Kevin,
Yeah.
question, my 1980 Gamblin paint has a lot of oil in it. It's making it hard to work with. Do you absorb the excess oil before you use it?
That's a good question. His Gamblin 1980 paint had oil coming out of it, which shouldn't be. And do we absorb some of it onto a paper towel before we start? Not generally. And if the tube is really old, then that's a possibility sometimes. Or it's possible that, paints are just made in small batches and sometimes it's a little runnier. What you can do if you're having trouble, although it's not usual, but if you're having trouble, you can simply squirt some of it out onto a paper towel and let it sit there for a minute. And then scoop it right back up, put it on your palette, and you're off to the races. All right.
Kevin, what's
Yeah.
the easiest tree to paint when first starting?
Okay, easiest tree to paint when you first start. Well, for me, that would be the evergreen tree because that's what I learned. And I know a lot of you guys are probably shaking your heads at me right now because I've been in classes with you. And I know the evergreen tree is not usually the easiest. So, having said that, for you guys, maybe a nice deciduous tree with a strong trunk would be the easiest. There. It's usually the most forgiving. But like I said, I started with evergreens. Those were not easy for me. But it just depends on what you do, right? Yeah.
What's your favorite brush to paint rocks with?
What's my favorite brush to paint rocks with? That's easy. 3/4 brush. 3/4 brush because it slices in sharp angles that rocks really have. If you want a smooth rock, go with the filbert, but be careful you don't get turtles. I've seen a lot of turtles painted, and you don't want to do that. So 3/4 brush, get some nice, beautiful, sharp edges, and you'll be real happy. Okay, let's think about, real quick, the feeling of, actually I don't want to use that one, I'll keep with this one, the feeling of some nice areas of dark in these birch trees. Down here at the base should have a lot of dark. And to me, this is part of the really interesting part of the painting. These birch trees really give it a nice feel that it didn't have before. So I'm going to spend an extra minute on them. There. All right, now I want to ask you guys, what do you think about flowers in the foreground? Would flowers be really cool in here? I can't see it, but they'll let me know. I think if we maybe do some wildflowers, let me know what you think. I think it could be cool. We'll see. We got a minute, actually several minutes before we get to that point, but let me know. There. All right. Scoot in a little bit of highlight, yikes,
Kevin, somebody
shadow
wanted you to
here.
Put yellow flowers in if you have the time.
Oh, that's a good idea. Somebody wants me to do yellow flowers? That would be super cool.
He was also saying he has trouble with mud, getting yellow flowers getting muddy.
Oh, that's why you wanted me to do them. Okay. Yeah. He has trouble doing yellow flowers. They usually get muddy for him. So what I'm going to do is I'll paint some for you. Why not? And somebody remind me if I forget. But we'll paint in a few in the background, maybe the foreground too. And let's accompany him with purple flowers because yellow and purple, of course, complementing colors. Let's do that. Let's do that. That'd be cool. So great idea. We're going to roll with it. Thank you. I appreciate your suggestion, actually. It really is helpful.
Kevin,
Yeah.
does the 3/4 inch brush have another name?
Oh, good. Yeah, does the 3/4 brush have another name? It is officially named the 3/4 flat. That's what we put there. And it's a brush that we designed. It's got nice, it's actually synthetic, although it looks natural. It's, believe it or not, it's synthetic, and it's just like razor sharp. No, it's always just been my little 3/4 flat. There. All right, let's get that done. I'm liking those birch trees. I'm liking the feel of them. I think that's right. Maybe we just a little bit on this one, and then I think maybe we need a little highlight on them because they seeming to be a little bit flat. There. All right. Don't want too much, but we will cover some of this with leaves. There, that feels good. That's about right. Of course, you want to do them on the highlight side as well, these darks. There. Okay, there we go. Good enough. Let's stop right there. Let me do one more round of highlighting. Oh, man.
Kevin, do you have
Yeah.
advice for painting on smaller canvases?
Okay, yeah. Do I have any advice for painting on smaller canvases? Sure. You got to use smaller brushes. Make sure you're really careful to control the amount of paint because, too much paint on a small canvas and it's going to be tough. So, and treat it like you would a big painting. Don't try to rush through them because it's small. It's going to take you the same amount of time. So there you go. I've done a couple small ones before, and that's what's helped me a bit. I will need a little bit more white before I get to doing any flowers. So at some point, no rush, but thank you. Sophie's here. She's helping me get paint when I run out, so that's a big help. So you guys don't want me to stop painting. Here you go. Thank you. All right. I like this actually. This is getting to really feel nice and detailed, those trees. Oh, perfect. That's plenty. Thank you. All right. Right back into the white. Let me just lay on a little bit more of this spot I wanted to have stand out. Yeah.
When adding a feature like road, house, stream, is it better to offset it in the painting rather than putting it in the center of the canvas?
Oh yeah, great question. The question was, when you're painting a big structure like a building or a stream or whatever else you might want in your painting, is it better to have it offset or stuck right in the middle of the painting? Well, it's pretty simple. If you stick something right in the middle of your painting, it's going to feel symmetrical and it's going to fall very flat. Instead, stick it off to one side, but here's the trick. Balance it. So if you have something, a clump of birch trees, balance it with a bigger fence and a smaller tree so that your painting feels balanced. You have a road start from the right-hand side of the canvas and end on the left-hand side. Does that make sense? You don't want anything dead in the middle, so I would not put a tree right up in the middle. That'd be weird. Okay, where are we at now? Let's do some leaves. Leaves are the next big thing. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on leaves. It's just not something I want to do because I want to spend more time on the details. Okay, a little detail round, holding it way in the back. Let me show you a cool way to do these leaves. Just touch like this. I'm going to do loose, open, airy leaves. See that? Each leaf has to touch another. It's very pretty. Love doing this sort of thing. Some of them are lighter in color to get a nice loose feel. Now, look, I don't want to fill them up, so I want to skip a spot, do somewhere else. All right. Oh, you know what's really important? I was gonna even talk about this sooner, but I totally forgot. I don't know if you guys are aware of it or not, but I made a video. I actually spent quite a while making a video for you guys. It's like I sat down and I thought, okay, I want to tell you guys my biggest 5 things that would help you in a painting. And so I made a little short 20-minute video. It just shows, my top 5 tips, what I think people don't really talk about, and things that I would find very helpful, things that would have helped me if I knew them earlier. So anyways, got those ideas out there. They're in a little video, and we actually have a link. I put a link on the video that you're watching right now on the feed. You can look down in the description. You don't have to click it now, but click it later after the video, and go download that. You sign up to the email newsletter, and then you'll get your automatic download of that video. And you get to watch it, you can keep it and save it and really learn from it. I hope it helps you because it's got some good info in it that I think will maybe make things a little easier for you. And some little tips and secrets that maybe you haven't thought of yet. Yeah.
Which is better for storing your tubes of paint?
Oh, yeah.
Up or down?
Oh. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard of it making a difference. The question, I know you guys didn't hear the question. Question is, how do you store your paints, your paint tubes, cap up or down? I always store them flat, and I've never had a trouble. In art stores, I've seen them flat. I've also seen them hanging with the cap up. So I really don't think it makes a big difference. I've never read anywhere. I've never been told by the manufacturer of the paint, how to store them. So it'd be something to look into, actually. I'm kind of curious now that you mention it. But yeah, I've never had any trouble storing them flat. So if you store them flat, you'll probably be fine. There. Do you like those loose leaves? I'm going to step back and make sure we're not getting too busy, but I had them too thick the time before. So I wanted to make sure they were a little bit more open, but I'm going to try to make them solid up here in the middle just a little bit more. Plus I'm going so slow that I want to speed them along just a little. Okay. All right, this is super fun. So, yeah, go ahead.
Plan on painting wildlife. Would love to see fur and feather paints.
Yeah. They want to start doing wildlife, and they want to see some fur and feather techniques. Well, this isn't the painting for that, but yeah, that would be amazing to do soon. I'd like that. Now, I'm still developing those techniques, but, it'd be something fun to do in the future, for sure. Because the rooster, I enjoyed that a lot. I had more fun on that than I thought I was going to, so yeah. Yeah, I'm going to practice up, and then as I learn, I will pass it directly on to you guys. You'll be the first to know. All right, I'm just going to highlight these birch trees now with a few strokes, impressionistic strokes. All right. Okay, good stuff. What do you think? Maybe right over here. All right. Yeah.
Have you done abstract painting?
Oh, have I done abstract painting? I've kind of played around with some more abstract landscape thoughts, but nothing too crazy yet. But no, I mean, it's kind of fun to play with, but I've never done anything more than just throw some paint on a canvas to test what, an abstract landscape would be like. Kind of fun, though. You guys should try it just for fun if you want to. I like these little traditional landscapes, though. These are fun for me. All right. That's feeling good. I'm liking this. Really liking this. Oh, I haven't showed you my palette in a while. It's getting kind of messy. I'm just using our yellow and touch of sap green. Got some yellow ochre worked in there, too. Yeah.
Is there a difference between texture between water-soluble
Oh,
oil paints
yeah.
and traditional oils?
Yes. The question, is there a texture difference between the water solubles and the traditional oil paints? I am using traditional Gamblin 1980 paint right now, available of course on our website, but if you guys are wanting to use the water solubles, you can, and I have with some success, but in my personal opinion, I find it harder. I find the texture to be less, not forgiving, but less easy to work with, shall we say, because it just doesn't like layering over without mixing as much. So for that reason, I don't use it. But if you want to use it, that's totally cool. But there is a bit of a difference. Okay, so there you go. There we have it. Those are some cool birch trees. I know I'm forgetting the limbs. I'll do them later. All right. I just want to throw a little bit of light right here.
Kevin,
Yeah.
any tips on transitioning from the background to the
Oh, yes. Any tips on how to transition from the background to the middle ground? Probably the most difficult part of the painting. I know it is, not probably. The most difficult part of the painting. Transitioning from the background or from the midground to the background is tough. Because this is easy here. Because I was just like blurry, coming forward. What you don't want to do is get in the habit of stacking objects over each other like this. That's a little weird. Try to combine your layers. And if we were spending more time, I would link the mountain up maybe with trees, link those trees up with more trees coming forward. You see how I would kind of combine? This is actually not bad the way this composition is laid out. But if you're able to link one area to the next, if your stream winds all the way back through your painting, stuff like that's good, that helps. But it is tough. Make sure you guys have a good feel for the composition before you start. You will not figure it out as you're going. It won't turn out well. it won't turn out too well. So you want to make sure that you want to make sure you have a battle plan before you go in and start your painting, because it will help. I'm going to do some dark right here. Right here. Okay, there we go. And a little dark wandering.
Kevin,
Yeah.
how did you learn color theory?
Oh, how did I learn color theory? This is easy for me because I didn't. Here's the thing. I'm not one to get you bogged down with details of why one color looks good. I don't make things up as I go along. I look at a tree. The tree is green, I'll paint it green. I'm like a human printer, right? You don't want to just get locked into thinking you have to do stuff. Now, I'll use a complementary color here and there because they just look cool. But look at nature and do whatever the nature is doing. It's simple. All right, tell you what, we could do grass, yeah.
This is a similar question
Okay.
to the one before. Got any tips on how to keep the background blurry without unintentionally start working in details, making the painting flat?
Okay, any way to keep the background blurry without unintentionally bringing in details that would make the painting flat? Because it would. If we started detailing out this mountain too much, it would make the painting kind of flat. Just make sure that you have soft edges and light colors. See, lighter, darker. That's number one. And just soft edges. If you see your edges getting too hard, just take your brush, blur them out, good to go. Okay, let's get some grasses in there.
Kevin,
Yep.
are you going to do a cityscape painting?
A new one or an old one? I guess I've already done the one. I'm guessing you've seen it probably. We might do another one. That was fun. We've only done one. We should do another. Yeah, I might throw something together like that again soon. It's been long enough. Okay, so I've thinned down my paint here on the liner brush with a little bit of linseed oil, which is good stuff for thinning paint only at this part of the painting. Otherwise, you don't want to do that. Okay, I'm just going to brush this in because we're starting to get to where we're working on the final details. This is where you get out your oil. See that? Draw it out. If the liner brush, if you have to stop and reload it every couple minutes, then it's not thin enough. There, I'm just going to drop these in. This is cool. You can kind of wiggle it and get these little bumps. What that does, it looks like little ferns and plants growing, which I think is really cool. There. More thinner because, or not thinner. You guys can use thinner. You're welcome to use thinner. A little more oil. Paint thinner will evaporate faster. I just don't like using it because I don't like the potential safety hazards. There. Okay, there we go. I like that. I like that a lot. I will soften that some.
Kevin,
Yeah.
how much time do you spend cleaning your brushes?
Oh, how much time do I spend cleaning my brushes? Probably not enough. They're a little dirty from time to time. In fact, I lose more brushes by just accidentally forgetting to clean them. I'll finish a video and go off and do something else, and I'll forget I had the brushes there, and then the brushes don't work so well after the paint's dried in them. So yeah, it happens. But you know, realistically, if you're going to really try to make your brushes last as long as possible, which of course you want to, just make sure you know, 10, 15 minutes if you have a huge brush set. If you have a small brush set, 5 minutes? Not very long. Okay.
Kevin, how
Yeah.
do you make ripples in water?
Oh, how do we make ripples in water? Well, since you asked, I guess we can do it later today. But you just take the little flat brush and swish them in with a light color, you know, white or anything else like that. It's fine. It's actually easy. I should probably have already done it by now, but good question because I needed to do it. All right, so I'm just brushing in these grasses. What this does is helps to create a beautiful feel of, you know, this meadow. I want the meadow to feel right. I want it to feel good and realistic. You want your paintings as realistic as possible. I know you guys have heard me say that. Yeah, go ahead.
Any advice on thinning the paint down to the right consistency without losing too much pigment? My black always turns gray and blends in.
Okay. Any suggestions about how to thin the paint? I'm assuming with the liner brush because we wouldn't be thinning the paint except for that, right? Except for in the beginning. So assuming we're working with the liner brush, and their problem is it's becoming thin and, you know, weak pigmented. If you're using the Gamblin 1980 black, which is what the color you're having trouble with, It won't become weakly pigmented. If it does, then you simply have way too much, and you couldn't even get it on the canvas if it was that thin. So use a high enough pigmented paint that'll cooperate with you. The worst thing you want to do, I mean, the last thing you want to do is fight your paint. It's not worth it. Just get a paint that works and go with it. There. But if you're still having trouble and you need to use up your paint, I understand, then try to just barely get it running on your brush. All right. There we go. A little bit more. And let's see here. I'm going to start doing these flowers soon because I'm going to run out of time. I'm so busy painting grasses, but oh well. Let's grab our, before we do that, I want to grab a little bit of our gray. And we're going to do those ripples because you guys wanted to see ripples. Watch this. Slice them in. Look at how subtle my color is. Yeah.
Do you start with an underpainting or a sketch?
Good question. Do I start with an underpainting or a sketch? Well, you pretty much saw it. If you didn't see the whole episode here, you can scroll it back when I'm done. I do sketch with the brush, and you guys pretty much, if you want to watch any of the more recent videos, you'll see that I do sketch with the brush. But I don't really, I mean, my underpainting is there with the oil paint as I go. You know, it's wet underpainting. It's all done in one day. So that's good. I like that technique, but you guys can use whatever technique you want to. There, I know some people that like to tint their canvases or create different backgrounds. I like that, the ripples in there. That's kind of cool. So there you go. Simple, soft ripples. I know those are nothing crazy, but it gives a little bit of movement like the wind is coming across that water. Okay, guys, ready for the yellow flowers? Let's do them. Let's take our yellow and our white and create something that is extremely beautiful, soft, and vibrant. There. Love it. Right there. That's cool. All right, right in here, I want to just touch in a couple of little flowers, little yellow flowers. This is all you need. I don't want to go overboard. Now, remember, I'm not looking at the feed, but whoever gave me the suggestion, I just want to say an extra thanks because this is cool. Look at this. And I appreciate everybody's participation. I mean, how fun is that we get to chat and just enjoy an evening together? And if you're watching this after the stream is over, I hope you enjoy it.
Kevin,
Yeah.
your palette looks so clean all the time. How do you keep it clean?
Okay. My palette looks clean all the time. It's not supposed to be green. It was originally once very clear. It's extremely stained. I'm not very good at keeping my palette clean. I just wipe it with a paper towel and it's good enough for me. But honestly, as you kind of tint your palette to, I mean, look, it's kind of the tint of a painting. So your colors will read really well off of this palette, but it's not clean, but it's fun. If you guys want to use wax paper or something to throw away, that's cool too. All right. Wow, we just did flowers like this. Remember, what was that, last week? We did that wildflower painting. It was kind of fun. There. So I'm just going to soften. Now look, I'm not creating individual flowers anymore. I'm creating these patches of flowers. This is not on my painting I'm looking at. This is you guys. I feel like we're back to the oil painting with you episodes.
Do you ever let your paintings sit for a while and go back to them?
Oh yeah, do I ever let my paint,
Also, how long before the oil dries?
okay, yeah, great question. Do I ever let my paintings sit and then come back to them later? Yeah, I will. I do that when I need a break, absolutely, because it'd be kind of very, very hard to come up here and paint a full painting that's of a really nice quality. You know, I've obviously practiced this one once before doing this with you guys. Furthermore, I'm doing it more quickly and loosely than maybe I would, and I'm sure you've noticed that. It's still a good effect, it's just, you know, it's a simpler painting today. Okay. I like that. So yeah, and how long before it dries? Well, depends on where you live. I'm in the desert. It'll be dry essentially in a couple days. It'll be dry where you couldn't work with it. So, you know, depends on where you're at. In the East Coast, I believe it takes closer to a week, but, you know, experiment. Okay, that's cool. That is cool. So I hope that gave you an idea of how to do those flowers. Okay, I'm going to really quick do a couple more things here. There. Okay, I could spend all day here detailing this out. I'm gonna try not to do that because, yikes. A couple more highlights right in here. Starting to feel good. Starting to feel like it's real and there's light playing back here. This is all the things you want to see in a nice landscape. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, that's looking done. So let's choose something else to do. Let's do, oh yeah, purple. I almost forgot to do that. Got a little purple sitting right here actually, and I will grab some white. What kind of purple is that though? That's a little on the blue side. We need some red to that. And some more white. Yeah, that's cool. And I'm gonna kind of make it light and dark on my brush. And just here and there, I wanna pop in a couple of notes of purple. Can you even see that? Oh, probably not. Probably not, because you can see it? Oh, cool. There you go, you can see it. I just want it subtle, so just a couple of notes of purple. Maybe make the shape a little different.
Kevin,
Yeah, go ahead.
I love painting swamp scenes. What is your favorite scene to paint?
Okay, you love painting swamp scenes, and what's my favorite scene to paint? Well, you put me on the spot. Let me think for a second. I love mountains. Okay, there you go. I love mountains. Those are fun to paint. Another fun one, I enjoy deserts. Deserts are cool. I love structures like old barn paintings are fun for me. This kind of thing with flowers, love doing little wildflowers. So there you go. I think I pretty much listed off everything, but I enjoy it. I don't know that I have just a standard favorite thing, but I enjoy a lot of things. So maybe I'll kind of put in a couple more purpley ones right here. Yeah, that feels right. That's starting to work. I like that in there. Kind of subtle. Okay, I need to do some work with a fan brush. I'm going to take some white, add to my purple, and I want to add some red to that in order to create, oh yeah, that nice vibrant pink right there. Hope you can see that right there. Good vibrant pink. Maybe some white with it. Okay. And I'm just going to slice this in like this. No, it needs to be more vibrant than that.
Kevin,
Yeah, go ahead.
how do you know when your painting is finished?
How do I know when the painting's finished? Well, if you're starting with a reference painting, you're pretty much going to know it because you're going to run out of elements to put in. At that point, you detail it until you're happy. And I don't mean detail it until like you think every little bit has to be perfect. No, instead, until the overall feel of the painting is what you originally were looking for. That's when you stop. You know, and if you have trouble, you're going to learn very quickly when you take it too far. You're going to know it. You're going to make mud. You're going to become so busy that nobody can look at the painting because it's so busy. You'll know it. So a little practice goes a long, long ways. Experience will kind of teach you when to stop. Now, if you're using one of my DVDs, it kind of takes the guesswork out because you just stop when I stop, right? So that's one of the bonuses of training with me. You're going to learn these things with me instead of having to go through the misery of figuring them out on your own. Let me teach them to you, and then you can go out and do your own thing, which is cool. That's a good way to learn. Okay, I put the pink in the background, which I like. This is really, really turning out pretty decent. I'm liking the feel of it. Let me try to do some liner brush limbs real quick. And I'm going to stand back after my liner brush limbs and take one last good look at it and decide what we need, what we don't need, and all that good stuff. So there's some limbs. I hope you guys are having so much fun. I've enjoyed this and really appreciate you guys coming, taking some time out of your day to join me here live. I know a lot of you guys were here early, so that's just super fun to me. It lets me know you guys are enjoying this. We're doing something right here on our end, and it's working, and you guys are having fun, because that's what matters. So you let us know if you have suggestions, because we're always happy to look at your suggestions and take feedback. There, good stuff. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And definitely, when we're done here, go check out that that free video download that I have for you guys, because I know a lot of you guys haven't got a chance to see it yet. Really cool. The 5 things you got to know before your next painting. That's what I labeled it, because it's my tips that I think will help you quite a bit. So I got the link right there in the description. You can click on that as soon as we're done here.
Kevin, here's a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You make it seem so easy. Any advice for beginners?
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, number one. Thank you, I appreciate it. They said I make it look so easy. And any advice for beginners? Well, beginners, you got to have some good instruction. That's important. That's like number one. And number 2 is simple practice. Don't overwhelm yourself with craziness or details, and don't drive yourself nuts. There's some beginner paintings out there, and they're there for a reason, because I want you to learn slowly. And I want you guys not to learn slowly. I want you guys to take it easy when you start. Start slow and then go really fast, really quick, because I know you'll learn quick. But start slow, have some success. That's probably number 1. Have some success, have some fun, and it's okay. I'm going to give you permission to be happy with your paintings, because it's okay. You guys can totally be happy with them and enjoy them and be proud of them, because I'm happy with a lot of my paintings. Every once in a while there's something I don't like, but I'm generally pleased with my paintings, and it's important that you're the same, because it'll give you confidence to go on and paint something better. So that's kind of my thing. I want you to be satisfied as you go. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to stand back real quick, because I could noodle this thing all day long. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm going to hold back on the details. Doing too many. I'm getting the important ones in right now. There. Okay, I'm going to stand back. Okay, I'm looking at it. I see one thing. I want to add a couple of bonus ripples to the water. That's all it needs. I like it. I'm happy. And I just want to thank you guys so much for your support, for what you're doing here, watching me and interacting, asking so many fun questions. You guys are fun, and I enjoy hanging out with you. All right, here's this right here. A couple bonus ripples. We wanted to see ripples anyways, right? So a couple of bonus ripples right out here on the water make it feel like it's a little more distinction between the shoreline. And nothing too crazy, but there you go. Very subtle, very subtle. Last couple strokes, blending a couple. There, okay. We're pretty much done. Let me sign it. I want to sign it with you guys. I'm going to sign lower left. There, it's nice and soft and subtle. All right, well, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching the stream live. And of course, if you watched it later, that's cool too. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Thanks for watching.